But since we're talking wokeness, here we might as well
It's popping in the woke
hit this one. And my mind said that wokeness has probably gone too far right now.
Career conference for females in tech was taken over by male attendees.
They were there just purely for the career fair.
Social media clips filmed at the Grace Hopper, the world's largest gathering of women technologists, show men standing in line to meet with recruiters.
This is a space for women in tech. This is one of those few limited resources that isn't for you, it's for us.
Some of the male attendees reportedly lied about being non-binary just to get in.
But it's interesting that the large majority of the people that actually ended up in the event had name tags with he, him, and have no searchable history of identifying as non-binary.
If we're playing by the rules that has been imposed in current society and we go by the element of wokeness, you can technically be non-binary and use he, him pronouns. So who are you to judge how they identify? How can you judge them just by their pronouns? I'm just saying, if I go by the rules that have been imposed on us, they technically didn't do anything wrong.
following society.
Several tech workers defended the men for trying to capitalize on job opportunities not meant for them, saying that the entire concept was wrong.
Let's be honest, there is no need for a conference just for women, because if it was the opposite, just for men, then it would be sexist. Just because you are a woman doesn't give you the right to talk to a big firm recruiter. Guys work just as hard and they don't get that chance.
So
I think the guy that sent that email is kind of right, but at the same time, like I understand how the women feel though too, because it's like it's supposed to be just for women. Like I feel like it should have, because it is a small space. I know there aren't a lot of women in tech. Like I think that they should have been able to get their career fair off. They should have been able to do it.
no, you know what's interesting? That under these circumstances, women are speaking out. And even in this situation, there was a couple men talking. But it's up to women to defend those spaces. And it's interesting. It's like, oh, I'll defend them against what I believe to be straight men. But if they hadn't have been straight men, or you didn't think there were straight men, you would have been cool with them being there.
I don't think it's a straight men thing. I think it's because it's affecting them kind of thing.
Then how do you know they're not all non-binary?
That's what I'm saying. There's no way for them to know that they're straight or not, or whatever to their body, not whatever their sexuality is. There's no way for them to know. Like
we're talking about gender, dude, not sexuality. That's two different things.
I apologize. I don't know. I'm from the hood, bro. I mean, literally, I don't know, man. I don't know enough about this. All I'm saying is there should be like it should be for just women. No, I understand them.
Like I get why there is, because there's not enough women working in tech.
You threw me off my whole thought.
I know. I'm just
really fucked me up.
I'm honestly being.
I couldn't. That was the first thing that came to my mind. I thought about it. I'm like, this shit. I just made no sense. That had nothing to do with the conversation.
Like I'm just playing the wokeness shit.
You fucked my whole
like
head
that's
up,
how it is. But that's what I'm saying. Like this is one of those scenarios where I'm saying we are probably going way too far with the wokeness. And now that you're starting to be affected, you're trying to be against some of the things you were advocating for a year or 2 years
That's
ago.
what I was going to say.
Like, this is what you asked for. Technically, this is what you asked for. Now, the thing with this is
who's asked for this? When you say this is
technically women, anybody that falls under all this super woke agendas that we're living through right now have been the people that have said anybody can identify and feel how they feel.
I don't
they
think
can
women,
be who they are.
I don't think women asked for it. I think they supported whoever, like the people that felt this way. And then as it started to affect them is when stuff like this, or like when some of the transsexual stuff, like where like the men saying that they're transsexual using women's bathroom and starting to like directly affect these women. I think that's when they start to speak up and be like, no, hold on, there's a problem here. But in some of the other conversations that doesn't directly affect them, I don't necessarily see them speaking out to this level.
I get it, but like a year ago, they were labeling people that were warning against these kinds of things before they were happening. They were calling them transphobes. You know what I mean? They were labeling people. And now
because it was only the men speaking at that time. The men, we were the first ones saying like, wait, hold on, this ain't like, how does one of the worst swimmers in men's D1 sports become the best swimmer, like female swimmer in the world? Like that, like the regular man is like, nah, this isn't right, bro. We're not trying to see this. Like, we don't want to see like the best boxer in the world fight boxing a woman. We don't want to see that. That's not how it's supposed to be. Like I feel like as men, we really want to see like on average, because there are men doing it, but we want to see competitiveness. We want to see greatness against greatness. We don't want to see some unfair bullying bullshit. Like we want to see the highest level of men. Like, oh shit, Mike against LeBron. Like if they was in the like that's the kind of shit we want to see.
Well, that's what I mean. Like this is what I mean. It's like there's some of this stuff that if you try to think about it logically, and we go all based of feelings, and anybody can be whatever they think they are at any moment. That means that we can have 8 billion different genders because we all can identify differently. And if we use those rules, these guys didn't do anything wrong. That's why you couldn't kick them out. And if you were to kick them out, you would have been opposing exactly what you said you were fighting for. So now it puts you in this weird dilemma where you have to either set your foot down and be like, yo, maybe whatever we were pushing for before is not right because now it's literally affecting me, or you just got to deal with it and accept it. And like you either go and be like, yep, this is what we want. Like we want people to be able to be who they are or whoever they want to be and feel like. And if it is, just keep the same rules. Like that's the only thing I'd be advocating for. It's like, if we're going to play the game of life, let's try to keep the rules and not try to switch them halfway through whenever it affects you as an individual. But when you were using the same rules to benefit from it, you didn't want to change them. Which is what's happening now. It's like, oh, when this was giving me access to things that wouldn't give access to just regular men, for example, I'm pro these kinds of rules. But once regular men's were like, cool, I'm going to play with the same rules you're playing, now they're wrong.
And, listening to you speak, I brought up something in my mind that when I was speaking before, I blame women for this particular topic, but that's not just like on this particular topic, it's women, but it's straight women, but in general, as humans, that's how we are. A lot, like on average, the average human, like we don't really like speak up against something unless it's like directly affecting us. Like for the most part, we don't just really stand up against shit that's wrong. Like there are people protesting certain wars, for example, but you don't see every single human in every country protesting these wars to stop.
No, I agree. No, I agree. Us. Like I agree. Like this is kind of new where we have some people saying playing the card of, I feel like we have people on one end and then all the way in the opposite end, and everybody who's kind of in the middle reasonably, they've been quiet all this time. Honestly, I think more people like possibly like us that sit in the middle where I'm cool with you on this side, but then there's ideas from this side that I'm cool with. We need to start not necessarily being more outspoken, but at least saying, I don't agree with that, or I'm cool with this, I'm not okay with that, and be more vocal about it. Because when we have allowed almost the fringe of both sides of any spectrum dictate how us, the majority, are going to live our life based on a very, very small minority.
We're talking about 20%, which is 10% one way and 10% the other way of the crazy, like the max, not the crazies, but the max levels of these ideas. Yeah. And then the rest of us, the 80, 75%, whatever, we all live in the middle. Like you're saying, we do what but I think we're too nonchalant about some.
That's what I mean.
Because we're too focused on like our day-to-day lives, and like we're like that 80% of people, 75% of people, whatever, we all live in like reality type shit. Like we all live in like that, like really.
But this was reality. This affected someone's reality in that moment. It's like, oh, I went to this job fair. We're supposed to be only for all women. What are all these men doing here? But then at that point, you're like, oh shit, it was the same rules that we say we were cool with.
They just use them to their advantage.
Correct. And they technically didn't break the rules. They work within the rules. But what I'm saying is we need to start paying attention to these little things at the small level, like how some parents are paying attention just to their school districts, how you have to pay attention in your local government, how you have to pay attention in your local fairs and so on. Like, don't even have to think about the freaking president and shit. Most of the stuff the president does barely affects you if you really, really think about it, your day-to-day life. It does affect you, but it doesn't impact as much as the people that you may walk in front of or walk by or see their office. And like your local government and local decision makers, those are the ones that truly impact your day-to-day life, or may impact your kids' day-to-day life,
or the most, at least.
correct, the most. But yeah, I thought this was just funny. I was like, hey, like this is kind of like what we've been advocating for. If we say we as a society as a whole, this is the direction we thought we should be going.
I don't think
Now
that.
let's
I think
either
we was being too nonchalant, bro.
that's what I'm saying. But that's what I'm saying. It's either we embrace it and be like, yep, this is the route we want to take, or call it out and like truly call it out. And if you notice this, people were not calling it out because they thought, oh, this is wrong. It was more like it's straight men taking advantage of this shit. That's why they were not cool with it. Some of the people that were calling it out on this video.
I think it just takes time with the same thing like that's going on with the last story that we covered with the Disney dropping Jonathan Majors and like their stocks and all that stuff being down. I think it's all the same shit. It just takes a while to like that once we start to see that extreme level of wokeness that's like, yo, this is too much, like yeah doing too much, like with the movies and the shows, and putting too much in here that's affecting our kids and all this other stuff. Then it starts to be like, all right, like then it's gonna, the pendulum swings back the other way, or at least a little bit more in the middle, and it kind of comes down, or it goes like super crazy, which isn't bad, like super crazy the other way.
I think so. Which I think we're starting to see that in a very weird way.
It's starting to get more like a '90s feel again. Like
I'm
this shit,
not even '90s. I'm thinking like if you see some of the younger kids, they're leaning more towards, how would I even describe?
They wearing baggy jeans and shooting each other, bro. It's the '90s all over again.
Yeah, but I know, like but I mean even their belief system like is changing. I don't think the crazy wokeness, I don't think it's gonna be the same as it is in our generation coming up with the kids that are like now 10 and 12. They're coming up with a whole different mindset that it's not as woke as we may think it is. They're probably not gonna think as progressively, because I think that's where the pendulum starts to go back of like, oh shit, like some of this stuff is kind of crazy, and even kids are starting to be more outspoken and like share ideas that honestly, when I was in high school, I probably would have thought you were antiquated. Like if you were to think the way some of the kids are starting to think now, and like in 6th, 7th, 8th grade into high school.
Yeah, I'm not enough around enough children that age to really know how, like, is there any like particular thoughts or anything like that that you share in these conversations? Because I know we have nieces and nephews and all that stuff. So
no, like there's like different things trending. Like you go on social media, like there's this thing trending right now where like women were doing they had a name for it, but being like super traditional, trad wife. Like they wanted to be a trad wife, a traditional wife. And like they're literally portraying this shit as some of the cool things to do on TikTok. And they're like doing day in the life, doing simple shit of being around the house and like doing laundry and doing the shit you would do day to day. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
and that wasn't really doing numbers because I didn't come across, at least it didn't come across my timeline.
It's probably because of the algorithm, but they are crazy viral. Like that was one of those things.
I already them like hashtagging like single, like this is what they're gonna do when they get married by any chance.
Just no problem.
If the Never Famous Pod TikTok page follow you, you know what it is. But only if you're single though.
But yeah, so yeah. But it is what it is. I think it is what it is. It's one of these things. This is kind of some of the craziness in society, and you can get mad when somebody uses your same rules against you. This is one of the same things I say when it comes to giving laws and power, and these laws are right now you may be agreeing to because they benefit you. A year from now, 10 years from now, the same laws can be used against you.
Yeah.
So always remember that.